off with that big story playing out in Sudan, hundreds killed in that conflict, and caught right in the middle are citizens of different countries, Nigerians. The minister saying about 5,500 Nigerians actually live in Sudan, 80% of them students. So you'd understand why a lot of Nigerians are worried, family members, and of course the Nigerians in Sudan themselves. So let's check in with the situation this morning and get updates. We're joined by someone at least who has an insight into what's playing out there. Akintaye Babatunde is Vice President External Affairs, NANS, that's the National Association of Nigerian Students, joins us virtually this morning. Thank you for joining us on the program. And, you know, reading stories this morning alone, you'd see reference to NANS saying, ignore NANS, wait for the appropriate order from the government. And I mean, it's trending that the NANS in Sudan asked, students to pay a certain fee so they can get access to some sort of transportation to get them out of Sudan to safety. So in the light of this new, statement from the government, what can you tell us then? What exactly played out? Was that instruction from NANS Sudan, was it genuine? Is it genuine? And just what prompted that? If you can give us a background to it.
Good morning. Thank you very much. That statement was actually from the NANS president, Sudan, and his executives. And after we got that, even before the federal government gave their update yesterday, we have been discussing with the president and the executive and some students. So when we got that from him, we asked him what has prompted this. And he said the level of conversation or the level of attention the Nigeria consulate is giving to the issue in Sudan is not too okay with them. So he said there was an announcement for ceasefire, that they are going to ceasefire in Sudan for the next 72, or that was about 2 days ago, for the 72 hours like that. And some countries are trying to evacuate their people. So they were not getting information about how they will evacuate Nigerians. So that prompted them to meet themselves and say, what is the best way? So if there's going to be a ceasefire, let them move themselves to the nearest border where they can be evacuated. But we advised him that that is also very dangerous. But at later end, the ceasefire was not really obeyed by the people fighting in Sudan. So we stampeded the activities before the statement from the federal government that they should not obey that directives. So we are also on the part of the federal government that the students should stay indoor for now due to safety. That was what prompted that statement from the president.
So that statement came a few days ago and particularly asked them to converge for evacuation. And I imagine for a lot of them, they may have, taken to that instruction and tried to converge. So are those students, or do we have students that are converged right now? What exactly are you hearing from the NANS in Sudan? I imagine you have an open line of communication.
Yes, we have always been communicating with them since the incident happened. And many of the students are converged together in their various universities. We have some in University of Sudan, some are in University of Khartoum, we have some in International University of Africa, we have some at NANS University in Khartoum. The majority of them are at the state capital where the battle is really happening, taking place. So they are together, most of them are together in their various hall in their universities. So even with the information, before the information, there are some students that have find their way to the Ethiopian border as we speak. Some students are at the Ethiopian border as we speak, which the Ethiopian did not allow them to come in due to the issue of visa or no visa. So the situation is serious. Even when you speak with them, they talk to you with fears. We're still talking yesterday. Yesterday the communication break because the network in Sudan seems to be down. Since yesterday afternoon, we were unable to get hold of them to continue conversation with them. But at the last time we discussed, we told them to just please wait for further directive from the consulate in Sudan or the embassy or our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because we have also been discussing with them, and all they are saying is that students should remain indoor. They are doing everything possible to evacuate them. But as we speak, we have some students at the Ethiopian border. We have many of them in their hostel. The worst hit of this issue is even the females, because many of our female students they are just there. No, feeding is difficult for them to even get their basic needs is difficult. They are just all together jam-packed in a specific hall in their institution. So that is the situation of things.
Well, I'd like you to expatiate a little further on that living condition, because it's something that comes to my mind, and I'm wondering how many parents are taking that. But first, to respond to this, for how long do you think this build-up has been on, within which time, the students probably have expected that maybe there have been some movement or some activity that will lead to the evacuation? For how long has this been building up, from what you guys know, and what exactly are the living conditions of students as you are, aware, the information that you have available to you?
The tension has been building up for the president said the tension has been up for almost a month, even before the escalation of the battle. And before the battle, he said he spoke with the student affairs officer of the consulate that it is happening, but they are optimistic it will not get to this level. If we are talking about the student living condition in Sudan, it is worse as we speak, because they can't even go outside to get anything. They can't buy food, they can't buy provisions, they can't get anything. Some of them hardly feed on a food daily. So they can't do anything, they can't go out, the network is bad, the electricity is not even stable, so they are just hoping and praying, optimistic, staying indoor, because they can't go out. They are at the state capital where the battle is going on. So the tension has been building up, which we expect the embassy or the consulate to have taken some action, if it is to give directive that there are some states in Sudan that this battle is not really affecting like that. Maybe we will have moved our students out of the capital to those states, or we'll have moved them out we'll have evacuated them from there. But with what you are saying now, the living situation, the living condition of the students is nothing to take home about. It is worse. If that we can add some of them, we'll try adding some of them even to this conversation, but the network is down so that they can tell you directly what they are facing. Well, they can't. Some of them hardly go. They hardly part. They hardly eat. Even there is no freedom. Upon that, the extension, they had the sound of bomb blast every day. Gone. Some of them said, anytime they are shooting, sometimes the bullet picks into their rooms, the halls they are. So that is the situation the students are presently.
Now, from what you have said now, it would seem like the information is, has been at the disposal of the Nigerian authorities, with you guys in Sudan, or Khartoum, perhaps, to be a little more specific. What kind of communication came to you from the Nigerian government authorities right there, or representatives right there with you, within the past one or thereabout months, that, as you said, this has been building up?
Yes, as I said, the tension has been building up, and the president in Sudan said they have been communicating. They have a line of communication between the students and the student affairs officer of the consulate. So when we got to know fully about this situation when the war started. So that was when the president communicated to us through the NANS president, and we swing to action. We have communicated with the ministry, with NEMA, and also we have communicated with the embassy too. And they told us they are doing everything to see how they can evacuate. Yes, there are some points they've raised that evacuation is almost impossible as we speak, because as we want our students to be evacuated, we also want their safety. The airport is grounded. To move the students from the capital to the nearest border is almost impossible, because we have large number of students in Sudan. About over 4,000 students, as quoted by the president. So we have communicated with them. We've written a series of letters, and we even told them and the ministry that the process of the evacuation, anything they are doing, we also want to be involved as student leaders, so that we can pressure them more to take the necessary actions But as we speak, we are more concerned about those that even at the border, the Ethiopian border. They have been there for the past 3 days and they cannot cross the border due to visa issues.
So can you tell us then, I mean, you told us that you spoke to some of those students last night, I imagine, or late yesterday before connections cut off. So tell us, what are you hearing from government? You've mentioned some of these, government agencies. You've mentioned the ministry. You mentioned NEMA. What are you hearing regarding the evacuation in terms of timeline? There's some, letters flying online about the request for certain buses to convey 3,500 Nigerians. But in terms of timeline, because yes, we can keep telling them to stay indoors, but for some of them, it's going to be very difficult. You've mentioned their upkeep. They need to get food. They need to get all of these things. So in terms of timeline, what definitive information do you have from the authorities?
As far as I'm speaking here, there is no definite information. All the authority keep saying is that the students should remain indoor and they are working on this. They are doing this. Even their communication, they are not really communicating with us. And that is the reality. So we are just, and it has always, we are just hoping that as they are telling us that they are working, they are going to evacuate, that there is no timeline, there is no guideline, there is no really direct communication on what is happening or what action. What they are saying is that they have written to the Sudanese government, they want approval from the government before they can evacuate the students. But we all know the government is at war. When is the government going to going to give the approval? And as we speak, thank God we have some, we don't have casualties on our side as we speak, and we are praying and hoping that will not happen by the special grace of God. The issue is a very serious one. Everybody are concerned. Even some state government are concerned because some state government sponsored some students to Sudan to study. So it's everybody issue. So we are hoping the ministry, as they have been saying, what they are saying is that they are waiting for approval from the Sudanese government before they can go in for the evacuation. So there is no definite timeline or time frame of when the evacuation is going to happen as we speak this morning. So if we get further information, we are also going to communicate to our students that do this officially, do this, and let's see what will happen.
Are you saying
that is it at this moment? Are
you saying that there is no hope of the movement? Given the difficulty that you described.
With what even the minister of Foreign Affairs was at Channel Television yesterday during the political, and he was also saying it that it is only when they get the approval from Sudanese government before they can make any evacuation. And with what you are saying, are we certain the approval will come? So I'm just appealing to them to also think out of box to see what we can do, how we can evacuate the students, because the situation in Sudan is getting worse by the day, and that is the reality. If you call the students, they speak in fear, they speak under tension, they can listening, you cannot hear what they are saying, they are scared. They are scared for their life, listening to the sound of bomb blasts every day, gunshots. So even alone, if we have students that are hypertensive, that is also dangerous for them. So that is the situation, sir.
Okay, so let me ask you, I am happy that you listened to the Minister of Foreign Affairs yesterday on our sister program, Politics Today, and he made it very clear that it was very dangerous to evacuate citizens by air. I think what they're thinking of is doing it by road. First and foremost, do you think that is an option that Nigerian students are happy to go with? And I'm wondering what else. Given the situation on the ground right now, how can the authorities help? Because you've talked about how, residents, citizens, especially students, are suffering. You've talked about the plight of female students, etc. But the primary question right now, how do you think that the authorities can alleviate the problems that the students are currently facing in Sudan?
The best because if we are talking of evacuation, to be sincere, it's going to take a very lot of process, because evacuating through air is almost impossible. The airport has been grounded. There is no flight. There is no way a flight can go in there to evacuate. So if they are going to even do any flight evacuation, it's going to be one of the countries closer to Sudan, either Egypt or Ethiopia. So, and if they are going to move students by road also, it's also difficult as we speak due to the situation. So this can only happen if the troops who are fighting faction obey the call for ceasefire and give us the time frame. Okay, we are going to cease fire for this so amount of time, then we can use that period to evacuate our students. But as we speak, the authority can also help by getting relief materials across to our students on those campuses, which I know is not impossible. The NEMA, we've told them, we've also written to them that please, if there is a way, the student does not have food, they have fed it times without number, and I'm sure that they've communicated this also to the consulates there. As we speak, our diplomats have been evacuated from that country, yes. So if there is a way they can get relief materials, food or daily provisions across to students there, at least it will also douse the tension on them about moving around or this, because it is lack of food and all these things that is even making some of them, as we speak, some of them are making their way to Ethiopia border. I've told you, for the past 3 days they have been going to the Ethiopian border in Sudan, the Al-Fasi border like that, yes, and some of them are still there as we speak.
Okay, so you agree with the authorities that it is dangerous indeed to, do an air evacuation, but you think that a road evacuation might be possible, and right now you're asking that they help get relief materials to the students on campuses. How do you think that would work? I mean, humanitarian workers allowed to, currently work within Sudan, within Khartoum?
Definitely, honestly, I don't know that also. And I think the embassy are the one that can, but we are only just appealing that they should find a way to get relief materials across to them. So definitely, if there's a way, they should try. They should look for those ways. If we cannot move 5,000 students out once, and we cannot also leave them there to because if it gets to a stage that they cannot stand the hunger again, what we are scared of will happen, because they will come outside and start finding their way to the border, or they want to go to the nearest state area apart from the state capital.
Clearly a very tricky situation there, and we'll definitely stay with this. I mean, we're here to help, so whatever information you have, perhaps want to pass it out there, let us know. But you're saying you can't confirm that letter that is flying around saying that they're meant to be evacuated on the 25th. Is that what you're saying? Okay, looks like we've lost connection. By the way, we're also meant to have the representative of the Nigerian students in Sudan, but we understand that there's been a network disruption, so we can't get him just yet. But as soon as the networks are restored, we'll definitely be getting our viewers update on that one. But I'd like to thank you so much, Akintaye Babatunde, who is a Vice President, External Affairs, NANS, joining us from Lagos virtually this morning. Oh, there you are. I just wanted to get a quick confirmation about that letter which is flying around. Have you seen it that says that evacuation would happen on the 25th?
No, I've not seen any letter about that. I've not seen such letter.
All right. Thank you very much. But get back to us when you have more, please.